On this episode of Cancer Chats, we're going to talk all about managing. How do you manage all the things that are thrown at you when you have a cancer diagnosis? And even more so, a metastatic cancer diagnosis. Sometimes I joke around that my part-time job has become managing my metastatic breast cancer. And really, it's only partially a joke because there are so many different aspects to keep up with. The longer that I have been sick, the more doctors I have acquired. And I am so thankful to my care team. I have a really great set of doctors who are caring well for me. But I need to be able to keep up with what they say, with what they prescribe. Now, there's certainly checks and balances out here to help me out, but I've always felt that it's my job to be a well-informed patient because I guess, at least to some degree, that helps me feel like I have control over some part of my care. I can't control my cancer, but I can control what questions I'm going to ask or how much knowledge I have about a med, making sure I show up to my appointments. And so I'd encourage you, if you have cancer, if you have metastatic cancer, if you have another long-term illness or another terminal diagnosis, to figure out what way works for you to be organized. And this might seem like a little thing, but again, I think there is some peace of mind if you are in control over some part of what's going on with you. So for me, I've showed this before, but I always carry around this little book. And I actually have not been as very good at this as of late. So I kind of need to pick it up again because I ran into some issues the other day when I really needed some exact information when something affected me this way when. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. But I try to put dates and I try and put medicines in here and I try and put different comments from doctors and I carry this around to different appointments. And this allows me to speak intelligently, to give correct dates, to remind this doctor that I'm actually taking this from this other doctor. This has been really helpful to me. Now, it's not always up to me completely to keep track of everything because at least if you live around central Illinois, then you've probably heard of OSF, which is like a major hospital system here. And they have OSF MyChart, which is like the electronic bookkeeping, right, of everything that's been going on for you with your various doctors. And they can see each other's notes and they can see each other's prescriptions and your diagnosis is on there. And if you don't live around central Illinois, then I would encourage you to see if your system where you're going, whether it be a hospital, a cancer system, whatever, has an electronic way to keep track of your information. This day and age, the answer is probably yes. But that's so much easier than having to get your files from one doctor and sent to another, or you making sure that you took down copious notes to tell the next doctor the right thing. Use those resources that are available. Now, again, like I said, I've been racking up doctors, and my guess is you probably have more than one too. I just went to a new doctor the other day, and I got this lovely packet of information on all sorts of stuff. It's really easy to want to just toss this over my shoulder when I get home, but they give you this information for a reason. And most likely, not everything in there is going to apply to your exact situation, but read this information. They took the time to put it together for a reason. So educate yourself on what that doctor wants to do or what resources that doctor has that maybe y'all didn't even get to talk about in your appointment. But for me, I take it one step further. I have a notebook, and I didn't do this at first because I just thought I could keep it all in my head, and that just wasn't remotely true. But I have a notebook with all the different doctors that I see, my nice little colored tabs. I keep their names and numbers, and so if I need to get in contact with them, I can easily get a hold of the office. I try and put my notes in there from different appointments. I put my after visit summaries in there so I can remember everything that we discussed, that they even typed in the computer. As far as showing up to appointments, because that's a big part of our care, and if you're like me, you have a lot of appointments. I average about 2 a week, and I live and die by the calendar on my phone. It's actually hooked up with my husband so we can see what each other is doing. Going to appointments takes up a large portion of my life, and you don't want to miss those appointments, especially because you tend to get into some pretty specialized doctors. The more special you are with your sickness, you see a lot more of them. And if you blow an appointment or you forget to go to an appointment, it could be a long time until you get to see that doctor again. So not only do you want to show up to your doctor's appointments at the right time, but you want to show up armed with the questions that you want to ask and the information that you might need. And so, again, I know maybe this seems like, yeah, okay, so I need to be my own secretary. Yeah, you do. Because at the end of the day, I'm guessing you all care about your treatment and you want to do your best to fight this or whatever illness or disease you're dealing with. And one of the few ways you can really is by being organized with your information, by being educated about what your diagnosis is, what your treatment is, about who your doctors are, about what meds you're on. It sounds kind of boring just to be organized, but like I said, it can kind of give me at least a sense of ownership over stuff, and like I have this much control over everything that's going on with me. And I have found it to be really important to be able to talk intelligently with different doctors about what's going on. Because in fact, when I went to a new doctor this past week, they weren't as familiar with oncology medicine. And so I could, intelligently, at least I think so, explain some of the meds I'm on and the side effects that I'm getting from those. And if I wasn't aware, if I hadn't taken notes to say, hey, this is when this happened or this is when this happened, I wouldn't have been able to make as good a case for why I thought I've been having so much pain. And so I would encourage you to be your own best self-advocate, right? I have a whole video on that one. But one of the ways to do that is to know your information. I would also say utilize those people in your life. For me, the program I'm a part of, I'm really blessed with a nurse navigator. And so she has been such a good person to talk with if I had questions or if they needed to get in touch with the doctors, or they also see when my scans come back and what they say. All those things are so helpful to have this person that you kind of filter a lot of your information through. So if you have a nurse navigator, I'm speaking specifically at this point to breast cancer people. I know that that they are common in some places. Make sure you're hooked up with one if you have that option. If not, there's enough other resources for you to stay well informed with stuff, and I hope be able to get in contact with your doctors when you need to. But also, this is one of those times to rely on family members or friends. If you have those around you, if you have those people in your life as a resource, then let them be helpful. Because it is a lot to manage and keep up with. And I do my best to do it on my own, but my husband has oftentimes been in charge of making sure the information got from the doctor's appointment to the house, or getting up and driving me to the doctor's appointment because I was too sick at some time. So use those people around you to help manage that schedule that you're kind of thrust into with a diagnosis like this. So like I said, maybe this one seems like a obvious, maybe you're rocking this already. And if you're not, I would encourage you to try, because I really do think there's something nice about going, I can't control what my cancer does. I can decide if I'm going to show up to get my cancer treatments or not, but I can't really control what the treatments do to me, hope for the best, but I can control my knowledge on something, asking intelligent questions, and just quite frankly, fighting in my own way the cancer. And part of that is with knowledge and knowing the right questions to ask, because let's just give a real world example. If I know this X chemo makes me really sick, I want to make sure that I've asked my doctor if I can have a prescription of Zofran for when I go home so I'm not puking my guts out all night. Simple things like that can go a long way. So get organized, stay organized, ask intelligent questions, and I hope they help in your fight of whatever you're facing, but especially metastatic cancer.